Maybe I should have fixed my hair. It's tough to fix your hair when there's not much hair to fix. Listen, welcome to the author's chair. I'm actually sitting. There it is. There's my chair. It's not. It's just a metaphor. It's not real. Listen, this whole thing is just a chance to spend some time and talk about writing and talk about authors. What are authors? What's the point? How do you become a good author? What kind of authors are there? Those are some good questions. I'll tell you something. Every one of you is an author. You're sitting there going, yeah, sure, I work in a mill, or I do this, I drive cab. I drove cab once. That I could write a book about that one probably. But listen, every one of us has to write a resume once in a while. We got to write reports. We got things. There's academic writing. I've done my share of that, I'll tell you. There's creative writing, and that's sort of where I really go to, and that's probably where I'll talk a lot about. But all these other kinds of things are out there. We're all right, and so this is basically a chance just to chat about writing. Okay, sure, and it's also to flog my book. But listen, but we really want to. I gotta be honest. Come on, I wrote the thing. Read it. And so maybe that's what we'll do today is just take a look at this and go, what exactly is this about? A book called Gabriel, and the little subtitle, which I don't know if you can see from there, but it says, sometimes the battle of good versus evil becomes personal. And really what this is a story of a young teenage guy struggling in his faith and just wondering what's going on. His mother prays something over him. This elderly lady on the bus prays the same thing over him. And he's going, this is weird. Like, people are praying things over me. What is you know what, to be honest with you, when I went into this, that was my theme. The power of prayer. Let's look at that. Does it have power? Does it do anything? That's what I wanted to examine as I wrote this. It was an examination of that topic. That was my theme. But, intentional fallacy, we got to watch. Just because the author says that's what it's about, that's not just what it's about. Books always have more in it. And the cool thing about books is this. If you're in grade 6 and you read something like this, you would gain something out of it. If you were 20, you'd get something else. If you were a young married couple, you'd get something else. If you're an old guy like me, you'd see something else in here. So books, actually, we can revisit books because they speak differently depending on our age, our experience, in what's happened in our world and our lives. And so we relate to them in a different way, right? So that's kind of neat. That's one of the reasons that books are so good. I mean, movies too. I mean, movies are just books that have been acted out. So I'm going to get flack on that comment, I know for sure. But listen, I still think books are better. But most of the time. But but books change over time. And that's the cool thing about a book is you can read it and reread it and get something different out of it every time. That's why people have their favorite books. They keep them on a shelf. People go, why do you have these books? You've read them before. Yeah, but I'm going to go into them again, right? I'm in the middle of reading one now that I haven't probably read for 20 years, and it's like a totally new book. I mean, I knew sort of what it was and where it was going, but I didn't remember all the details, and I'm seeing it through a different lens. So that's neat. So this book is about this young boy named Gabriel who's struggling away, trying to figure out, is God real? What's going on? And what's my life? Now, in the middle of this, there's another character, because we have to really have two characters. You have to have something so that there can be the friction, right? If there's no friction, there's no heat to the story, right? Rub your hands together. They get hot. You got to create heat in the story, some kind of an action, something to engage things. So we have some kind of a problem and forces working against each other so that we can actually resolve them. Because that's really what a book is. Everything's wonderful. Oh, we worked it out. So he meets somebody named Mallory Waters, and he meets this guy named Mal. Now, he doesn't actually meet him for a while, but Mal's life is falling apart. He's to the point that he's suicidal. Things are going bad. And it's the story of these two lives intersecting. And the interesting thing is what causes them to intersect. What is it that brings these two lives together? And a lot of times, there's some kind of a person, a place, an incident, something that draws these things together. So the book is telling the story of this person and this person going through their lives, and they hit together. And then what happens after that? And that's interesting. And you can see that in nature. I live in a place where there's two rivers that connect, right? One's coming up, it's muddy and dirty, and the other one is, muddy and dirty. And, and they hit each other. And when they hit, it's turbulent. These two things collide, and it's turbulence and everything else. And then as it goes, it kind of works its way out and becomes one new river, and it calms down. And really, that's what a book does. It brings us into something. It causes turbulence, and then we work through the turbulence, and that's where things get really exciting. How is it going to work out, everything? And then it kind of comes through, and we feel it out at the end. So really, that's kind of what books are basically about. Does that make sense to you? All right. Now, I actually want to take some time in these chats to look at character and setting and plot and transitions and all kinds of stuff. And, you're probably wondering, well, what makes you an expert on this? I wrote a book. That's not what makes me an expert. To be honest with you, I'm not an expert. I'm a learner, along with anybody else. I don't think there are experts. I think we all learn and we grow. Take any book, any author that you enjoy. And listen, if you find an author you enjoy, find everything they've written. But you'll notice that things change. Even if they're similar writing and similar stuff, they grow as they go. If you don't grow as you go, you kind of stagnate, right? If everything comes in but nothing comes out, you turn into the Dead Sea, stagnate. So go. We got to do something. We got to be creative. We got to have our creativity come out. So listen, the book Gabriel. Check it out on Amazon. Just go in there. Just type the name Gabriel. Probably put my name, Bruce Birch. Put that in there. It'll come up. Check it out. If you've read it, awesome. Thank you. If you haven't read it, get it and try it out. If you hate it, talk to me about it. If you love it, tell somebody else about it. To be honest with you, I think there's a message in here that's worth listening to. Like I said, my topic was prayer. But I found when it was done that I'd looked at suicide, I'd looked at spiritual warfare, I looked at depression, I looked at relationships, I looked at circumstances and how things work. I looked at how things are worked out in lives. There's a lot of stuff that came up that I kind of went, wow, that was really cool. Check it out. And listen, pop in again when I put another one up. This is the first one, so there's not really any place to pop to yet, but I'll get another one up, and we'll take a look at some other things, maybe character names, big important things to me. All right, thanks so much, and I was going to just automatically click my little pen and shut my video off, but I dropped it, so I'm going to have to touch the camera and do it.